Communication is key for our businesses and when we are working on a global village, especially for past 7-8 months. What's going on is pushing us to communicate more, in which is helping people in such a way that they can work from anywhere. So with that background, today I'm welcoming one of the teachers, educators, advisor, and innovator, Susan Toby, who is been working in this space, helping the people to learn a language and communicate well with in their business as well as out of the business. And here comes co-founder of English Startup Academy, Susan Toby.
Thanks, Deepak.
Yes, first and foremost question, why you do what you do?
Well, English Startup Academy was created for the purpose of helping teachers be more valued time-wise and financially by allowing them to the use of a learning management platform to create their own business. We wanted teachers to get paid directly by their students, and that way we get paid for the use of our platform, and we're assisting them to become more innovative, but also that the valuing aspect was really the key factor. Additionally, students get to learn English in a number of ways, from play-based that caters for babies to kindergarten, English catering for K to 7, English exam preparation, which uses Cambridge, IELTS, TOEFL, academic literacy skills for university students, and business English for those who individually want to enhance their English for work, or for businesses who want to upskill their employees. Additionally, in this environment, we're actually also offering a very comprehensive social and emotional learning program for children who need to improve their well-being.
Very important and very apt at this point in time. With that, what is the compelling problem you're solving here? Why did you think there is a problem, and what is a compelling problem?
When I was living in Indonesia, I noticed around me in the Asian environment that nationalism is on the rise globally. And we're also seeing that in America and in other countries. And so, though it hasn't reached a mass momentum yet, we do believe in the future will play a much bigger role in employability. We've seen the opportunity to work with local teachers in their own country, helping them to save time and effort through the use of our platform. And we offer over 1,000 resources for them to help them develop their own lesson plans. We've offered teachers the opportunity to control their own lives by becoming entrepreneurs and building their own business, so that in the long term, they can become income earners rather than wage earners to an employer. Most importantly, we wanted teachers to feel valued. For many years, teachers have not been relegated at a high enough profile to other professionals. We've seen that during the pandemic, for example, teaching suddenly became a really important thing for parents, because they had to take on that role, which is a role that teachers have been playing: parent, counsellor, administrator, nursemaid. They've played all those roles for a very, very long time. So now parents have a better understanding of what really needs to take place when educating a child. And I think that a lot of them have recognized the value, but still, it's still a long way to go.
Yeah, it is definitely a big problem. I know, sitting at home, and when my son was around and trying to teach him, and also when I speak, especially in pandemic really hit areas like India, where the schooling is absolutely happening from home, parents are under tremendous pressure. Parents are definitely under tremendous pressure to go through that, and this platform, the way you're explaining, would definitely help them to get someone to help them to get things better.
Mhm.
Right. So, what are your challenges in implementing new ways of learning and new ways of working?
With COVID, our plans for launching in China and India were actually delayed, and India was one of our focuses. We're still in conversation with an organisation over there, but in India, for example, there's talk of students not returning to school till June 2021, which is incredible. So we've had to be very flexible and change direction when needed. We've had to review our direction from focusing just on teacher partners to now examining educational commercial facility arrangements. Teachers are very fearful of returning to work in some countries, and in others there are lockdowns as the second wave hits. We've therefore had to offer a range of options, including totally online, blended learning, which is where students have some face-to-face combined with online. And then in places like China, face-to-face is still the preferred method of teaching and learning. So we've offered individual tuition or group tuition. You're hearing me speak mainly about Asia, but obviously Europe is still a focus. We have decided at this point in time to focus primarily on China and India and later on Europe. But we still recognise that nationalism is still an important factor that we have to consider, and how we're actually teaching students. Not every student has a laptop, so they're having to utilise mobiles. So we need to have whatever platform we have, that it has to have multi uses. We've also reviewed our financial model from one-off payments to a small monthly amount to a subscription model for payment per month or annually for the platform. Internet connection and speed are sometimes challenges. As I said, not everyone has a laptop. In China also, for example, you'd be aware that, the Great Firewall of China is something that many platforms have had to deal with. So you can't access YouTube or Google in China, you only through a VPN. So we have had to integrate WeChat into our funding and our marketing. And so you see that there are different situations and challenges working in different environments, apart from time zone and various other things.
Yeah, you being an innovator yourself and looking into it, I think you were quick in planning and reworking on the way you can offer things better for the organizations. So with that at the context, if we look at the challenges what today's entrepreneurs or the companies are going through, can they be mitigated, or how do you think as an innovator these things can be looked at?
I consider fear of the unknown as the main challenge. In our business, we discovered that there are two types of teachers, those that are risk adverse and those that are risk tolerant. The risk adverse want everything handed to them on a plate, which makes supporting them much more time consuming. The risk tolerant, on the other hand, are the entrepreneurial, but need to realise that there will be ups and downs and that they must remain resilient. If something doesn't work, they need to be flexible and adaptive. And we're seeing that, those two types are really in the teaching area, the areas that we're having to deal with. And there is certainly more of one than the other, especially at the moment where the pandemic is going through a second wave in America, in Europe, and also in South America. I was speaking to someone last night in Ethiopia who happened to mention that, that's the last of their concerns. They've got a military coup going on and the pandemic isn't anything to concern themselves about. So, different places, are really suffering different things. All challenges need to be mitigated. It just depends on the degree of the resolution and whether another pathway can also work. So I think that, you know, when you ask about mitigation, whether, you know, challenges can be mitigated, the answer is that, you know, you must try in every direction to see how it can be mitigated. It may not be, you know, a full change. It may only be a partial change, or even a very small change, but that can help to mitigate, you know, the risk.
Yeah, that is very key. The thing is, like, you can't do the business the way you are doing, and you have to change. That is first and foremost thing. The other thing is, like, you need to be mitigating the challenges what you look at. That is the best way what we can see the entrepreneurs and the businesses are required to do today. With that, so since you have touched upon the innovation, and you being an innovation coach, and uh, do things differently, how would innovation help companies go through these situations, and how do you think you incorporated in your organization?
Well, everyone's looking for an angle to exist. As mentioned before, one needs to be flexible, look to your target market, ensure you have a database so you can engage with your customers. Great leaders know how you fight today will determine the future outcome. Therefore, now is the time to review business processes, enhance, automate, create awareness of your brand, push new products and services, even if times are difficult, because when you come out of it, you'll be more resilient and better able to manage your future situations. We saw during the financial crisis that some companies thrived, and it was due to the product or service they were offering. It was the right thing at the right time, personable customer service, the authenticity and trust in their brand. Today, we're seeing a world that has turned online in ways never imagined, from online choirs to opera singers at windows, online costume challenges happening to home deliveries. Online teaching certainly has got up there. A lot of companies that were product-based companies have started in education, have started to look at, you know, adding online teaching to that product. So they've got an enormous database, and they've already started, you know, looking at how they can also offer online teaching to add to their customer base. So we are seeing a lot of innovation happening around education, and also around the social emotional learning component, where, you know, we've been in discussion, for example, with my other business around threats in education, and the aspect that teachers are concerned about the social and emotional well-being of their students, especially with, you know, constant lockdowns, not having the ability to play, wearing masks and so forth. So, you know, those are all aspects that we need to consider when we're talking about innovation.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. Every challenge, or every business challenge, is an opportunity what we get in the what nature throws at us, and make much more resilient for all the challenges what we have, and try to do something different so that we can pick it up from there, and uh, provide better solutions for the mankind. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, you were talking about different, right? And one thing which I wanted to check with you is, how different are you in your space? Because teaching, or the English teaching, is not something new for the business or the industry. So how are you different in your offering or in your business?
That's a really good question. And I'd like to just share with you that we did a lot of research before we actually started to develop this platform in regard to who our competitors were. And there were four things we have seen. and that is entrepreneurial teachers on our platform get paid for their work directly by their student, which differs considerably from other platforms that take a greater chunk of money and not the person teaching. So, and there's a lot of anger around that at the moment that is happening on the web. We're seeing a lot of groups complaining about the fact that teachers aren't being valued, that, you know, platforms are taking the bulk of the money, and they're even naming and shaming some of these platforms. So we didn't know that at the time, but it was something that both my partner, Stuart Johnston, who is also a university lecturer but has worked around business English for a long time, we had that feeling that the main thing for us was, you know, the local teachers, the nationalism, but also the valuing of those teachers and getting them to be paid what they were worth. And some platforms also charge thousands to franchise their product, then don't provide ongoing support. They initially help, then fade away as their expectations that the teacher will manage everything. And we had a conversation with one teacher not so long ago who had bought into a franchise organisation, I won't mention names, and she said, look, you know, I know how to market, but, you know, and they've given me all this help, but the minute I started, I found that it was really, really difficult, and I kept going back. And she said they gave us 3 opportunities to work with them, and then after that we were left on our own. And she said, you know, I'm not making money out of this business. Now, I know she paid thousands for it. Now, risk-adverse teachers want their hands held. I think I've mentioned this before. They're not likely to want to run a business. They want to find customers. They don't want to find customers. They just want to be paid for the work they do. And this, though she had that entrepreneurial spirit, really what she wanted was customers coming into her and just being paid to do the work, not having to constantly go out there and market and do the work. And that is something that, you know, we have seen within our platform, that it is a differentiating point that we do support our teachers ongoing. I sat with, and she's in Pakistan, but I sat with someone on Zoom just recently and went through her whole lesson plan with her, helping her to work out how to set it up and do everything. And that isn't something that most organisations would do. Many teachers still need to do the bulk of the work on the platform, as it doesn't provide the resources that we have on ours. I think I mentioned before, we have over 1,000 resources. And the reason we did that was because one of the most time-consuming things for teachers is to find resources. So all they have to do on our platform is basically drag and drop. All the hard work's done, and all on our platform, they then have the opportunity to book their students. It's a one-stop shop for all communication, from Zoom to forums to feedback, support, providing options for assignments, quizzes to grades. And we also provide professional development. It's self-paced, but it's there if teachers want to, you know, update their knowledge as well. And then lastly is the nationalism, which I mentioned earlier. It's starting to gain traction, and in years to come, I think local teachers will be the focus rather than expats in many countries. Though some countries are keen on having a quality English teacher from the US or the UK or Australia, we have found through our interviewing process, because we actually have a very rigorous process, when people approach us to actually come onto our platform, we interview them. We talk to them, we try and get them to do a video, so that it's a selling video to attract students, but it also gives us the ability to look at how they're speaking and the language that they're using and so on. And we've found that there are many excellent local English teachers who have English as a second language. Their pronunciation, their quality pronunciation is great. And then many of them are not just English qualified like CELTA or university qualification, but also they're actually university qualified teachers. So we're finding that we're getting the foundation of teaching, because just because you're an English teacher with an English qualification like CELTA doesn't mean you know how to teach. And that is another factor that we've differentiated ourselves with.
It's amazing the way you have done the research, and this is key for all the entrepreneurs who are getting into the businesses, like building their value proposition and looking at how can they be different, and also assisting uh, your clients in such a way that they get a positive feedback. For us, being in the business and trying to do a lot of things for our customers, how do we measure our success? What is the success mean for us?
Our key performance indicators are based on the number of teachers and students that use the platform, the number of educational facilities and businesses we collaborate with, and the positive reviews that our teachers get. We believe that from those things, money flows. So, you know, a lot of people would say, well, you know, you measure your success by how much money you've got in the bank. But we base it on our key performance indicators.
Okay, that's a very nice way of measuring the success rather than the numbers. And what is the type of world you would like to live?
Well, this is a really interesting question, and you know, when you initially sent me your questions, I sat down and was thinking about it, and for me, I would like to see that the world is becoming less judgmental and racist. The cancer culture, fake news, and just some of the things we are seeing with poverty rising. It'd be great to see some level of sense return to society, especially in the US at the present time, with greatest respect for all human beings and for our environment. It'd be wonderful to see the levels of poverty drop and government in all countries fund better education to help achieve this outcome. And it would also be good, this is my ethics coming in, it'd also be good to see corporate criminals punished properly and ethics take the upper ground. So those are the things that I personally would like. I think a lot of people are probably in the same situation where, you know, judgment and racism seem to be on the rise everywhere. And it's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, the bad things catch up very fast. That is what is going on in the world. So I love the way you put it, like, you know, the cancel culture, fake news, and the last one is the corporate criminals. With that, the next one, which would be more close to our heart, is when do you feel fulfilled?
I love challenging work that fulfills me. I keep the platform up to date, ensure that all is working as it needs to while doing a myriad of other things to maintain my health and well-being. I get true fulfillment when everything comes together and my efforts are recognised. I think that it's the challenge that drives me. Many years ago, I built a house and I did it on my own, and I decorated it and did all the things. And then as soon as it was finished, it was like it wasn't important anymore. So I think that it's the actual challenge of the work that really fulfills me. Yes.
Yeah, that's nicely put. Okay, we're coming to the last portion of our discussion. So, with whatever we have discussed, and what is the motivation for an entrepreneur, and why do people become entrepreneurs? And that is the first uh, question. And the next one is, where do you think business might go from where we are right now?
I think people are tired of the professional work they undertook to study, and they're following their passion. And I saw this a lot when I was living in Indonesia. You had a lot of Westerners coming, especially into Bali, and they had been lawyers or engineers or some profession, and they had just decided that they just didn't want to do that anymore. And so they were going into graphic design, or they were going into technology, or they were doing yoga, and becoming yoga teachers. It was a very interesting thing. And I think that people choose to become entrepreneurs for a range of reasons. They don't want to be wage earners all their lives. They want to, have income coming in on a long-term basis. In teaching, for example, people want to make a difference to the life of another. That's why teachers actually go into teaching. And so there are certainly some people that want to make a social impact. Again, in Bali, there were a lot of people who chose to go into the environmental impacts, and working with, charities and different groups to try and make an impact in the lives of others. So I think that's a motive for some entrepreneurs. And what was the last question? Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Where do we think that business might go from here? I mean to say, wherever we are in this current situation.
In Asia, they have a way of working, which I think is a really good way. They usually have more than one business, because they say when one business is down, the other can still bring in money. And as mentioned, I have two very different businesses. For me, it's about making them both successful. I think that for us, because I have two different business partners also, they help drive these businesses with me. So we need to continue to adapt to our circumstances and remain innovative in the process. But, for all businesses, and I had a conversation last night with a young person who was asking, where do you think, businesses will go from here? We're seeing unprecedented times, and there are a lot of businesses that will not survive, because, they haven't had cash flow, they haven't had, processes in place. They've been very reliant on one product, and they haven't looked to adapt to the circumstances. So, it's a very interesting time for us, let's put it that way. And for us, it's about, trying to make our businesses successful, and just adapting and remaining innovative.
Yeah, remain innovative is the key in our current situations, and keep focus on what we are doing. And as you rightly said, having the second income along with the primary income makes very important, and having two different businesses complementing each other and building our net worth and keeping us
Look,
floating.
I find actually it's interesting, because there are a lot of people who are working still full time, and they're managing on the side a small business to
Yep.
start with, until they grow that business large enough to actually go into it full time. And we're seeing a lot of innovation happening around people doing that, because they recognize that it is unprecedented times, and maybe they have something that they can contribute, that could build a business for them later on. So we're seeing one side of things, changing that way. But on the other side, we're seeing that, especially in Australia, the government has given the JobKeeper allowance, And we're seeing people who are living on that and really not wanting to move away from that handout, and looking for jobs and, you know, trying to change their life circumstances if they've lost their job, you know, full-time job. So, you know, we're seeing, you know, different things happening across the community.
Yeah, that's something been observing and seeing how the things are taking shape. I wish people become more focused on how we can make this place better for everyone to live, and live and let live is what we should be looking at, and leading to prosperity is that's something which we are destined to work for. With that, Sue, we are coming to the last portion. Is there anything that you would like to talk to the viewers and let them know where they can reach you and how could they get connected with you?
Thank you so much. Yes, English Startup Academy, it's https English Startup Academy, all one word, .com. And certainly we'd be more than happy to have any businesses who need to have English upskilling for their employees, or any businesses that, you know, the employees themselves want to just enhance their skill set. For teacher partners, we welcome you. We're always on the lookout for quality people. And for, you know, age groups, we deal with from babies right through to K-7, university students, academic literacy skills. That's something that you should be thinking about. And in that academic literacy skills, we deal with writing, with presentations, and with team building skills, because I've been a university lecturer and I recognise the aspect that when you are working with teams, you're working with very diverse personalities and cultures, and very often there is a dysfunction and timelines and various other things that come into play with that. So we would say, you know, if you're a university student and you are looking for, you know, additional help, whether you're doing your Viva Voca, which is your PhD oral dissertation, right through to writing your actual paper, we can assist. We have qualified PhD people with us, and I myself have had to go through that myself. I've actually looked at, you know, dissertations and read through them and all the rest. So yes, we offer a wide range. Business English and from babies right through is all important when you're learning English, so that you can successfully participate in the global world, especially as you're getting older, or as you're wanting to travel. There are all sorts of reasons why English is a key factor in your life.
Yes.
Thanks, Deepak.
Thank you, Sue. It was amazing talking to you and understanding some of the challenges you have gone through in your business, and especially your passion towards educating people, and which enables us to communicate better and help each other, and also over the process make the world a better place to live. With that, thank you. You have a wonderful day ahead, and I wish you all the success in your business. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Bye.